Raila Amolo Odinga was born at the Anglican Church Missionary Society Hospital in Maseno, Kisumu District, Nyanza Province on 7th January 1945 to Mary Juma Odinga and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, whom later served as the first Vice President of Kenya. Raila attended both his primary and secondary schools in his home province Nyanza until 1962, when he went to further his studies in Germany at the University of Leipzig and Magdeburg Technical School, which is now part of Otto von der Rieck University of Magdeburg. In 1970, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. He returned back home and taught engineering for 4 years at the University of Nairobi. In 1971, Raila established the Standard Processing Equipment Construction and Erection Limited, later renamed East African Spectra, a company manufacturing liquid petroleum gas cylinders. In 1974, he was appointed Group Standards Manager of the Kenya Bureau of Standards. In 1978, he was promoted to its Deputy Director, a post he held until his 1982 detention. Odinga was placed under house arrest for 7 months after evidence seemed to implicate him along with his late father Oginga Odinga for collaborating with the plotters of a failed coup attempt against President Daniel Arap Moi in 1982. He was later charged with treason and detained without trial for 6 years. Raila stated that one of his most painful experiences was when his mother died in 1984, but the prison wardens took 2 months to inform him of her death. Odinga was released on 6 February 1988 only to be rearrested in September 1988 for his pro-democracy and human rights agitation at a time when the country continued to descend deep into the throes of poor governance. During that time, his political followers named him Agwambo, meaning the mystery. Odinga was released on 12 June 1989 only to be incarcerated again on 5 July 1990 together with Kenneth Matiba and former Nairobi Mayor Charles Rubia. Odinga was finally released on 21 June 1991 and in October he fled the country to Norway. In February 1992, Odinga returned to join Ford, then led by his father Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. He was elected vice chairman of the General Purposes Committee of the party. In the months running up to the 1992 general election, Ford split into Ford Kenya, led by Odinga's father Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and Ford Asili, led by Kenneth Matiba. Odinga became Ford Kenya's Deputy Director of Elections. Odinga won the Lang'ata constituency parliamentary seat, previously held by Philip Liki of Kanu. Odinga became the second father of multi-party democracy in Kenya after Kenneth Matiba. When Jaramogi Oginga Odinga died in January 1994, Michael Wamalwa Kijana succeeded him as Ford Kenya chairman. Odinga challenged him for the party leadership, which later on resigned from Ford Kenya to join the National Development Party. In 1997, Odinga stood unsuccessful as the NDP's candidate for election as President of Kenya, but was able to retain his seat in the National Assembly. He and the National Development Party thereafter gave their support to Moi and the ruling Kikuyu-dominated Kenya African National Union (KANU). Odinga joined Moi's cabinet as Energy Minister in 2001, and the National Development Party was absorbed into the ruling party the following year, with Odinga becoming Secretary General of KANU. Odinga's hope of succeeding Moi as KANU's candidate for the presidency in the 2002 elections was shattered when Moi called upon the party to support Uhuru Kenyatta, son of former President Jomo Kenyatta. Several KANU members, including Odinga, formed the Rainbow Alliance within the party in protest of the choice, and they instead advocated for a vote among KANU members to determine the party's presidential candidate. Their pleas went unheeded, and KANU officially named Kenyatta as its candidate a few months later. In response, Odinga and the Rainbow Alliance left KANU and formed the Liberal Democratic Party. Kibaki was elected president in December 2002. Then later on, after his election, he appointed Raila Amolo Odinga as Minister of Roads, Public Works and Housing. In 2006, the NARC coalition collapsed, but Odinga had already formed a new coalition, the Orange Democratic Movement (ODM), In the months prior to the 2007 presidential and legislative elections, Kibaki formed his own coalition, the Party of National Unity, PNU. During the 2007 elections, Kibaki was declared the winner, but Odinga immediately disputed the outcome, and international observers questioned the validity of the final results. Widespread protests ensued throughout the country, which led to the post-election violence. In February 2008, former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and Jakaya Kikwete, President of Tanzania and Chairman of the African Union, brokered an agreement between Kibaki and Odinga for the PNU and the ODM to form a coalition government. This led to Odinga's being sworn in on April 17, 2008 to the newly created post of Prime Minister under Kibaki's presidency and with the power-sharing cabinet. In the run-up to the 2013 elections, Odinga's ODM formed the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy CORD alliance with Kenyan Vice President Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Democratic Movement and other parties. Uhuru Kenyatta won the elections and Odinga did not at first concede. He later on filed a challenge to the results with the Supreme Court but promised to respect the court's decision. The court ultimately upheld the election results and Odinga conceded. In 2017, Odinga's ODM party and the other parties that were previously part of the CORD coalition allied with more parties to form the National Super Alliance NASA. The new alliance backed Odinga for president and Musyoka for deputy president to stand in the upcoming elections. The elections were held on August 8, 2017, and Uhuru Kenyatta won the election with more than 54% of the vote that Odinga trailed him with almost 45%. On January 30, 2018, Raila Odinga was sworn in as the People's President of Kenya by thousands of NASA supporters. Besides his political life, Raila Odinga was married to Ida Odinga since 1st September of 1973. The couple had 4 children, the late Fidel Odinga, Rosemary Odinga, Raila Odinga Jr., and Winnie Odinga.